Most people picture the CEO as the freest person in any room. No boss, no approval process, no one watching the clock. You make the decisions, you set the culture, you choose the direction. The whole company answers to you. That picture is not wrong. It's just wildly incomplete. Because what most people don't see is the other side of that equation. For every decision you own the consequences. For every person who answers to you, you are responsible for their livelihood. For every freedom you gain on paper, you trade something harder to name. Sleep, certainty, the ability to walk away from a bad day without it following you home. This video is about that trade, about what the CEO role actually becomes at every stage of a company's growth. Not the highlight reel, the full picture. And here's what you'll realize by the end. The CEO is not the person with the most control. The CEO is the person with the least permission to be careless. It starts before any of this becomes real, before there's a team, before there's a product anyone's paying for, before there's even a name on a business card. There's just an idea and the unshakable feeling that you have to try it. At this stage, you are the company entirely. You handle the product and the sales pitch and the customer follow-up and the bug fix and the social post and the invoice, not because you want to do all of it, because there is no one else. The work doesn't stop when you step away from the desk, it just waits. There's no salary here. Some weeks the business generates something, most weeks it doesn't. You fund it from savings, from freelance work on the side, from whatever you can find, and you tell yourself it's temporary, that once the thing gets traction, this part ends. What keeps you going isn't a plan. It's the belief that one proof point will change everything. And it does. The first time a real customer pays you real money, not because they're a friend, not because you gave them a discount, but because they actually wanted what you built. Something shifts. The idea stops being hypothetical. The company exists. That moment is intoxicating. It's also the moment your responsibility begins. Here's what no one tells you about hiring your first employee. It doesn't feel like growth. It feels like weight. Suddenly, there's a real person who left another job, maybe a stable one, because they believed in what you're building. They have rent, they have expectations, and every decision you make about the business now affects them directly. Your team is small at this stage, 2, maybe 5 people, but you feel every one of them. Cash flow is no longer an abstract concern. It's a countdown. How many months of runway before payroll becomes a problem? That question lives with you constantly. And here's the thing that surprises most founders. Execution, not the idea, becomes the real risk. The idea got you here. But an idea with 3 customers and no scalable process isn't a business yet. It's a possibility. Turning that possibility into something consistent and repeatable is a completely different challenge. You're still doing the work, but now you're also managing people who do the work. You're answering questions, clearing blockers, making judgment calls about hiring and priorities and culture, all while still trying to bring in customers. The role is already doubling on itself. Some people love this phase. The scrappiness, the closeness of the team, everyone knowing everyone, the urgency that makes each win feel enormous. But the urgency never fully leaves, and soon the company starts outgrowing the version of you that can hold it together alone. There comes a moment in every growing startup where the founder realizes they've become the bottleneck. Every important decision flows through you. Approvals, strategy calls, creative direction, hiring choices, it all passes through one person. For a while, that's fine. You're the one who knows the vision best. You know exactly what the product should feel like, who the right customers are, what the company stands for. But as the team grows past 10, 15, 20 people, holding all of that yourself stops working. Decisions slow down, people wait on you, work stacks up. The company can only move as fast as you can personally process. Delegation becomes unavoidable. And for most founders, that's the hardest mental shift in the entire growth curve. Because delegation doesn't just mean passing off tasks. It means accepting that someone else will make a call differently than you would, and still being okay with the outcome. It means trusting people's judgment before they've fully proven it. It means letting go of the version of the company that exists entirely in your head and allowing it to become something built by more than one set of hands. You stop being a doer. You become a builder of doers, and the company slowly, awkwardly stops being you. At some point, the emergencies stop being daily. You notice it slowly. The team handles problems you used to field personally. The product ships without you in every conversation. Revenue comes in without a heroic sprint. The company has achieved something that felt impossible 12 months ago: stability. But stability creates its own demands. Because a stable company isn't just a collection of good people. It's a collection of functioning systems. How decisions get made, how performance gets measured, how new people learn the culture without you personally showing them, how conflict gets resolved when you're not in the room. This is when you realize the system itself is now the product. Not just what you sell, how the company operates. Your job shifts from fixing problems to designing the structures that prevent them. You start thinking about leadership layers. Who leads each function? Do they actually have the authority they need? Are you staying out of decisions that should belong to them? Culture stops being something you create by example alone. It becomes something you have to be intentional about, written down, reinforced through behavior, tested every time someone new joins and dilutes the original DNA. You are no longer the keeper of it by proximity. You have to build something that holds without you in every room. When the company crosses into the hundreds, something quietly breaks. You stop knowing everyone's name. It sounds like a small thing, but it signals a real change in how the company works. You are no longer close to the work. You are close to summaries of the work. Reports, dashboards, weekly readouts from department heads, these become your primary contact with what's actually happening day to day. This is the phase where many leaders struggle, because the feedback loop that used to feel tight now has significant lag. A problem on the ground may not reach you for weeks. A customer experience breakdown might be invisible to you entirely until it shows up in a metric. The skill required here is completely different from anything that got you this far. You have to learn to trust data more than instinct. You have to build reporting structures you actually believe, not ones that filter bad news before it reaches you. You have to ask the right questions of the right people because you can no longer see for yourself. And every decision you make now lands at a distance. A restructuring affects people you've never met. A product pivot changes the work of an entire team you don't directly manage. The consequences of your judgment calls are real. They're just no longer visible to you in real time. The company is no longer something you can feel. It's something you have to measure. At scale, the nature of the CEO role makes a fundamental shift. It stops being about people and starts being about capital. You're now running a large organization, thousands of employees, multiple markets, significant revenue. The operational work is handled by experienced leaders who are better at it than you. Your job at this level is not to manage. It's to allocate. Where does the company invest in the next 3 years? Which markets do you enter and which do you exit? Which product bets are worth the capital and which are consuming resources that belong somewhere else? These are not small decisions. They are directional decisions. And getting them wrong at this scale is expensive in ways that can't easily be undone. Your time horizon extends dramatically. You're no longer thinking in weeks or quarters. You're thinking in years, strategic plans that span 5, 6, 7 business cycles. Competitive positioning, that depends on where the market is going, not just where it is. The margin for bad judgment narrows. When you were a startup, a wrong call cost you a month. At this scale, it can cost you a market. The decisions are bigger, the information is more complex, and the ability to change course once committed is much slower. This is also where competition becomes real in a different way. You're no longer competing with smaller, hungrier companies. You're competing with organizations that have equivalent resources, equivalent reach, and teams of people whose full-time job is beating you. There's a level where performance is no longer enough. The company has to be trusted to perform. At this stage, large company, possibly public, definitely on the radar of investors and analysts and press, the CEO's job takes on an entirely new dimension. You are now managing not just the company, but how the company is perceived from the outside. Every earnings call is a narrative. Every public statement gets dissected. An off-message quarter doesn't just affect internal morale. It moves stock, triggers analyst downgrades, and creates board-level conversations you didn't ask for. You develop a kind of perpetual dual awareness. There's the internal reality of what's happening, the actual challenges, the genuine progress, the honest uncertainty about what comes next. And then there's the external story, the version that needs to hold the confidence of shareholders, maintain the trust of institutional investors, and not spook the employees who read the coverage. These two things need to be aligned. When they're not, when the internal reality diverges significantly from the external narrative, the gap eventually collapses in the worst possible way. Words carry financial weight here. A sentence in an interview, a phrase on an earnings call, a post-announcement statement that lands differently than intended. The CEO who treats communication carelessly at this scale pays for it in concrete ways. The job is no longer just about leading the company. It's about leading the story of the company. Fortune 500 scale doesn't feel like arrival. It feels like responsibility. Tens of thousands of employees, global operations, supply chains that touch multiple countries, products used by millions, a balance sheet large enough that a capital decision you make in a boardroom has downstream effects on smaller companies, on contractors, on local economies you'll never see directly. The CEO at this level is no longer running a business in the conventional sense. They're steering an institution. Your decisions don't just affect the company, they can move markets. A major acquisition triggers regulatory scrutiny and industry realignment. A restructuring makes national news. An earnings miss affects retirement funds. The consequences are no longer contained to one organization. The work itself looks almost nothing like what you were doing in stage 1. You're not building anything with your hands. You're not running customer calls. You're not even managing people directly. You are setting direction, allocating enormous amounts of capital, representing the company in rooms where industries get shaped. And through all of it, the board pressure, the shareholder expectations, the regulatory relationships, the geopolitical considerations that now touch your supply chain, you carry something that can't be delegated: accountability for outcomes you didn't cause alone, for a company too large to personally know, for decisions made in good faith with incomplete information, whose full effects won't be visible for years. This is not freedom. This is something else entirely. The title says CEO, but what the title means changes completely depending on where you are in this story. At the beginning, you are the company. The risk is personal and immediate. At the end, you are responsible for something so large that your name becomes synonymous with its outcomes, good and bad. The freedom that people imagine at the top is real, but it's surrounded by something most people never picture: consequence without escape, visibility without privacy, decisions that affect thousands of people who will never know your name. The CEO is not the person with the most control. The CEO is the person with the least permission to get it wrong. And that, more than any title or salary or equity stake, is what the job actually is.